and welcome back to this week's video. I had originally recorded a different video for this week, but it's been kind of a long, stressful week, so I ended up hating it and scrapped the whole thing. So this is kind of what I wanted to make instead. I just didn't feel like going through the editing process and voiceover process, whatnot. So I'm doing a video on kind of a slice of life video, an update on some of the pets that you've seen in previous videos, and yeah, just kind of a chill, relaxed video. I'll go over some things that are happening now that refer to things in previous videos, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. So, I guess first update is the king snakes. So I've got Prince with me. He's doing wonderful as always. We're coming up on the preparation for breeding season, so we're coming up on brumation. Brumation for my king snakes starts November and ends in January. That is the schedule that the previous breeder that I have is on, so I don't want to change it. So everybody else gets to go on that schedule. Now, the problem I've run into is that female Persephone isn't eating right now. She refused her last meal. She ate the time before that. She refused the time before that. So out of the last 3 times that I fed her, she's only eaten once out of those times. And I don't really know why. So that's one of the fun things about breeding and keeping exotic pets is if something's going on, you have to figure out what it is. So I've changed all of her substrate. I noticed that there's kind of like some picky things in that substrate, so every time I would kind of shift things around or do spot cleaning, I would have little like pokies stuck in my hands. So I took that substrate out, I've replaced it, I've checked the hot and cold sides of the tank, I've corrected her day and night cycle as well, because I'm wondering if the room that she's not in this room, is too dark too soon, so she kind of thinks that it's already that time. So I am trying to figure that out before we actually go into brumation, so that way she hasn't starved herself for the last little while and then she has another 2 months of not eating. So it's kind of tricky with exotic pets, especially if you're breeding them, because you want to make sure that things time out properly. You don't want to subject them to anything that might harm them, right? So you have to kind of figure it out, and if you don't, you have to make the decision on whether or not you continue with that breeding season. So this is supposed to be my first time breeding my king snakes. If I can't get her to eat enough before breeding season or before brumation, I would worry that she would lose too much weight in that time, and then I would have to skip out on breeding season. So this is something, it's a little bit stressful, especially since it's my first time doing this. I want everything to work out properly. This is a situation that I have to monitor. Both of the other king snakes, Prince, who is in the same room as Persephone, and Phantasma, aka Psycho, both of them eat no problem. I have no problems there. So I do still have the potential to breed them. It's just the already confirmed breeding female who has laid clutches in the past for her original owners. It's giving me a hard time now. So that's something that I have to kind of watch. So I'm sure you'll get updates. I'll probably do an actual dedicated video or a couple dedicated videos on the king snakes and the breeding process and brumation and checking in on them. So you do have that to look forward to, and you'll see if I'm actually successful or not. I think it's important to document it because it kind of shows you potentially the unfortunate side of it, where sometimes it doesn't go the way that you want it to. and you have to roll with the punches and keep going. So that's my update on the king snakes. I'm probably going to cycle through a couple different pets just because, like I said, it's been kind of a rough week and I just wanted to spend time with my pets. I didn't want to go through the process of making a whole production and all that. I just want to sit here and spend time with the animals that I love and talk to you guys. So, that's what we're doing. The next thing for me to talk about is something that happened a few months back. I kind of alluded to it in one of my videos, talking about the isopods, where we had gotten the gargoyle gecko and it didn't make it, so it passed away. I didn't really go into too much detail about it because I was in the process of, one, trying to figure out why it happened. Two, I ended up getting another gecko because I wanted a gecko, so I got one. And I never really addressed it because I wanted to make sure it wasn't something that I did. So, here's the update on that. I got a Chihuahua gecko instead of a gargoyle gecko. After my gargoyle gecko passed away, we kind of looked into it and Reddit and some other places were talking about gargoyle geckos and their failure to thrive rates. And it seems like their failure to thrive rates are actually pretty high when they're little. That's not something that I found when I originally did my research. And it wasn't until afterwards when my gecko passed away and I was like, why did this happen? That I found this information. I thought about it a little bit more, and I thought about the fact that when I go to the expos, I don't really see gargoyle geckos a lot. I see lots of crested geckos, I saw Chihuahua geckos, I even saw Leachianus geckos, but I don't really see gargoyle geckos. And this could just be me connecting dots, but I have a funny feeling that that's part of the reason, is because they don't always thrive. Now, I was hesitant to get my new gecko, the Chihuahua gecko, because I didn't want a repeat of what happened with the gargoyle gecko. So I've just kind of been seeing how it does, and my gecko's been doing great. I'm going to show you the new one because I don't think I've actually shown her on the channel yet, but she's wonderful. So give me 1 second, I'll get her out and we'll go over some of the things that I noticed that were different between her and the original gecko. Hi, baby. Hi. So, this is Prada. So Prada is a Chihuahua gecko. She was a baby born this year, in January. Or hatched, I should say, this year in January. She's been fantastic. So one of the reasons that I feel pretty confident in talking about the other gecko now is because when I first got her, the first day that I fed her, I actually cried. With the gargoyle gecko, it was always a struggle to try and get him to eat. He would, not really eat the crickets. He would eat a little bit of rapashi, but only if I made him. When I left it in there with him, he wouldn't touch it. Like, he never did any of that. He didn't have a really big enclosure, so I don't think that he was stressed out that way. The temperatures were fine, the humidity was fine. I checked all of that, and he just wouldn't eat. So I left him alone for a while to see if maybe I was stressing him out by trying to force feed him. And again, he wouldn't touch it, he wouldn't do anything, and eventually he died. I checked on him one day and he wasn't alive anymore. So when I got her and I went to feed her the first time, I was like, please don't let this be a repeat of last time. And she ate right away. She was happy to eat crickets, she was happy to eat the rapashi, and I cried because that was proof to myself that it wasn't my fault. I don't ever want to be in a situation where I am causing, pain or harm or death to an animal. Not if I can do something about it. I want to be able to correct that situation. And it just shows me that I don't think there was anything I could have done to change the outcome with the gargoyle gecko. And that was kind of relieving for me, because obviously she's been growing, she eats every time. I actually hand feed her rapashi, and she does perfectly well with that. I don't have to force her, I don't have to do anything. So it's just nice to know that it wasn't me. So that's another update, and it kind of shows you that not everything goes the way you want it to when you are dealing with exotic pets or pets in general, especially the exotic kind, because it's few and far between to find vets for them, all sorts of things. So, on a happier note, Prada is doing exceptionally well. I've actually found a mate for her so that when she is big enough and old enough, I can breed Chihuahua geckos, because after doing more research, it seems like they're a lot more hardy. One of the things I was reading was about their eggs. And Chihuahua gecko eggs are very thick and calcified. So if the baby makes it out, it's probably going to be fine, because it takes a really strong, hardy baby to get out of the egg in the first place. And then they're pretty much good to go from there. They have a much higher survival rate. They have less failure to thrive. So that's a really nice thing. And I would rather deal with that than with, the heartbreak of having gargoyle geckos and not having one live or not knowing. It's probably just that my experience with them wasn't good, so I don't want to do that anymore. And it's totally fine if you don't agree with me. That's part of it, right? And that's why we have so many different breeders who focus on different things, because one person enjoys breeding Chihuahua geckos, one person enjoys breeding gargoyle geckos, somebody else enjoys breeding leopard geckos. It kind of goes from whatever you like based on your experience. She's so cute though. I'll do a species spotlight on Chihuahua geckos at some point in the future. They're super cool, and I will have another update on the Chihuahua geckos coming in the future, because I have something in the works. But she's very curious. She's always kind of tasting things. Usually when I take her out, it's probably to feed her. She will sit with me every once in a while, but they're just so beautiful. This is not the color that she will be. She hasn't kind of developed into her colors yet. They do change colors as they age. So we will see what she ends up looking like. And I'll be able to show you her parents in the future as well, and we can kind of compare based on that. But this is Prada. She's very soft. Chihuahua geckos are super soft, and they got little wrinkly chins. And I think that it's so cute that they've got those little wrinkly jowls on their necks. It's my favorite. I play with them or touch them all the time. They're so soft. I love it. That's kind of my gecko update. It's unfortunate that the gargoyle gecko passed away, obviously, but I'm very, very happy with the Chihuahua geckos, and I'm not glad that it happened, but I'm glad that I am now in the situation that I am with the Chihuahua geckos. So, say hi officially for the first time to Prada. Okay. My last update for this video and kind of just hanging out with my pets is on crabula and the vampire crabs in general. So we actually have two types of vampire crabs. We have the purple carnival vampire crabs, which is what crabula is. And I have apricot vampire crabs as well. They're babies right now. So the idea with them, like I mentioned in a previous video, is to be able to captive breed them. Because they are so often taken from the wild and shipped over to North America to be sold as pets, I would like to focus on them as a breeding project. One, because they're cool. Two, because I want to reduce the amount that they need to ship in from their native area, so Indonesia, to relieve the tension or the stress that places on the native population. So, crabula, I mentioned this in the other video as well. Crabula I got from somebody who already had them from a pet store. She had a couple of them. The female actually died, so crabula was kind of the only adult left in that group. And I decided to take him because she was getting rid of them or wanted to get rid of them. So I just took the babies and him. So because this species will cannibalize their children, he is kept on his own right now. Once the babies are big enough, he will be integrated into the same tank with the appropriate amount of females to males, which is 2 females to 1 male. So I will have some that will be for sale soon-ish. And then the same will be true with the apricot vampire crabs. I have to wait until they're old enough for me to properly sex them, because you have to wait and then look at the undersides of them. I can go into it in a video if you guys want me to. But that's kind of the idea with the vampire crabs. So in the next year, we should hopefully have vampire crabs. We should hopefully have our first clutches of California king snakes. And then once this whole situation with Prada's parents goes through, we should be able to breed Chihuahua geckos as well. So I will be doing species spotlights on the ones I haven't already. I've done a species spotlight on the king snakes. That way people know how they are as pets, what to expect from them as pets, and then it'll be super cool to watch them, you know, develop and grow and be able to purchase on your own if you want. Or just kind of come along for the journey, right? It's all about learning and appreciating them. So even if you just want to watch from afar, that's totally fine too. But that's kind of what we're looking at in the next, year. We'll have to do a comparison video in a year to see where we're at. Because by then I should have all the babies of everything. So, with that being said, I know this video is kind of random, last minute, and is just kind of me updating on things, but sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you have a hard week and you just want to relax, not think too hard, and hang out with your cool pets. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate that anybody tunes into this. I never thought that I could make a YouTube channel and have anybody watch anything that I did. So the fact that anybody does means a lot to me. If you could like and subscribe or leave a comment on the video, it helps the channel and it helps me know that you actually like what I'm doing. Remember, as always, do your own research. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!